My dad was quite the character. He loved to sing, but for one, he had no sense of harmony or could not spell melody to save his life. And forget about timing. And secondly, he always mangled the lyrics of the songs to suit his own purpose. One song comes to mind was an old Burl Ives song entitled Down in the Valley. Some of y'all don't have a clue who Burl Ives is. So just go to the Google box and type in Burl Ives, Burlives, and you'll find out. If you've watched Rudolph, you'll see him singing there. But my dad would love to sing that song, Down in the Valley, and he would do his own editing of it. Down the valley, valley so low, hang your head over, hear the wind blow, he would sing. And hear the wind blow, boys, hear the wind blow, on and on he would go. So let's talk about valleys this morning, particularly the valley that's mentioned in Psalm 23. We've all gone through valleys, right? Surely, if you've been a believer for any time at all, if you've been a follower of Christ any length of time at all, you've gone through some spiritual valleys in your life, places that is dark and places where you feel all alone and vulnerable. Perhaps it was a time when unexpected things, circumstances came crashing in on you, like this COVID-19 has visited us. Perhaps it was a time when it seemed as though even God himself had left you all by yourself. You see, Psalm 23 is God's guarantee of his abiding presence and care with us, no matter what's going on, even when we go through deep and dark valleys in our lives. The fourth verse of Psalm 23 is what we're going to focus on, and this is the New King James Version. We'll get this down one of these days. I'm not a professional doing this, by the way, just so you know. Psalm 23:4 says this, Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You see, David is no stranger to calamity or hardship. This is a man who knew what it was like to suffer. He knew what it was like to face difficulties. He had been hunted like a rabbit by a paranoid king. King Saul had wanted to kill David because he was threatened by him. And so David is living on a run for a long time in constant fear, perpetually looking over his shoulder to see who's hunting him. He's living in caves and among rocks. One occasion he even breaks into the tent of meeting and eats the showbread for he and his men because he is in fear of King Saul. Psalm 23 comes from the school of hard knocks, and David so eloquently displays God's presence to us. From a man who knew what it was like, David knew what it was like to be in need of God's help. But we might say, God, a valley, really? I don't like valleys, Lord. I prefer mountaintops, okay? Let's go there. I like the sun to be shining and the birds to be singing and the little spring peepers to be doing their peeping thing. I don't want a pandemic, Lord. I don't want all that goes with this pandemic. I don't want hardship. Yet the Lord is saying to us, you see that mountaintop in the distance over there? The only way to that mountaintop is through this valley. You coming with me now. You just come with me now through this valley, and I'll help you navigate it through. I'll be the one that'll fill your cup so full that it'll just brim over and you'll be drinking out of the saucer. I'll be the one that gives you lush pastures to eat from. I'll be the one that protects and guides and directs you through this pandemic. See, valleys are inevitable in life. Hard times, difficulties, fears, aggravations, frustrations. Whatever the valley is, remember this. You are not alone. That's God's great promise to the believer. And don't forget this. God is good all the time. And all the time, God is good.